Oh, hey.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Ron.
I'm Zach.
We're from Widetrack, and we're here on our little segment called Influences, where we talk about bands that have influenced us. Today, we'd like to just have a little bit of discussion about Radiohead. Zach, you just got done listening to the In Rainbows album in full. You want to give some of your impressions on that?
It sounds very pretty, and I think the experience of listening to a Radiohead album, any Radiohead album, all the way through is much better than, picking out favorite songs. I mean, to me at least, I think the album being a complete work of art really seals the deal for making them a great band to me, because not too many bands can really do that, where you get a whole nother experience when listening to just individual songs in the whole entire album.
Indeed. Yeah, it's one of the things I love, and every one of their albums is a different thing too.
They're very progressive in literal speaking. Though they do have odd times, they are constantly evolving how they sound and what sources they're taking all of their masterpieces from.
Indeed. Yeah, one of the cool things about the band is from song to song, they're switching instruments. They're, basically you have the bass player and drummer are for the most part stable on their instruments, but Tom York and Johnny Greenwood, the rest of them are all just moving around, and from keyboards to guitar to just vocals to percussion. And it was interesting to see them after they did the OK Computer album, and they said, hey, we can't make another alternative album, and they just deconstructed their whole method. And I read that it was really difficult for the guitar players in particular to say, well, this is my comfort zone, but I'm going to jump out of it, and whatever these songs need is where I'll go. And it just opened up a whole new world for them.
I think it's kind of an example of what happens when you step outside your comfort zone. I mean, if you do it right, I suppose, or you really kind of put time into it and not just say, oh, I didn't really like that, I'll step back in. It turns out to be a whole nother different type of masterpiece, different type of your work from before, because they all sound like Radiohead albums, but no two Radiohead albums sound the same.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something that I think about with Widetrack, and we're still kind of establishing ourselves, so the final verdict will be what our audience thinks about where we are stylistically. But one of the things that inspires me about a band like Radiohead, much in the same way of a Led Zeppelin or whatever, is that they can go wherever their muse takes them, and their audience allows that, and even encourages it, even expects it, and other bands are kind of more
locked into what their audiences determine them to be.
Heavy metal bands are a lot like that. Certain kinds of bands are very much like that. You stay in that realm and don't go outside of that, lest you lose your fans. So it's just inspiring to see artists who are just allowed all the latitude in the world to surprise you. And maybe there's a happy medium there somewhere. But in any case, how does Radiohead influence you as a young musician, Zach?
I think kind of brings you back to the real core of it doesn't need to be super complex and hard to play, and oh, that's too simple, I don't know if that should be what I use. Maybe I should try until it sounds a bit more complex and difficult to understand. I think Radiohead just sounds nice. They use neat sounds, but they use them in a complex way. So I just take the neat sounds part and use that for my little piece of influence I take from it. So it just sounds good, and if it didn't sound good, you wouldn't want to listen to them nearly as much, and because
Yeah, one of the things that never ceases to amaze me is the quality of their recordings. I mean, that's if ever there was a headphone band, earbud band, man, Radiohead is just, it's so satisfying to listen to up close like that. And you know, obviously they have access to the greatest cutting edge technology available.
Rightfully so. They have the works of art to compensate for the price.
Indeed, indeed. So, well, we're kind of getting a little long here on time, but you got any final words to about Radiohead that you want to share? What are some of your favorite standout tracks that come to mind?
Weird Fishes.
Weird Fishes, that's a good one.
And Packed Like Sardines in a Tin Can. Pyramid Song.
Pyramid Song, I
Reckoner.
love that song. Reckoner.
Jigsaw's Falling Into Place.
Paranoid Android.
Oh yeah, of course.
Let Down is a song that I always really felt. 2 + 2 = 5. I remember that was one that caught you early on, and probably my favorite song off of Hail to the Thief. I Might Be Wrong is probably my favorite song in the world. Don't hold me to that. There's a lot. I have a lot of those. But yeah,
Nude.
There's Nude. I think if you're going to make a case for showing somebody how awesome a singer Tom York is, what a crooner he can be, Nude is just the quintessential Tom York vocal performance. It's just amazing to me. I would highly recommend the From the Basement special from Radiohead.
Definitely, yeah. It's like seeing them live, but they still sound really good.
Yeah, they did one for In Rainbows, and then they did another one for King of Limbs, and both are amazing. So that's a good place to start. And fortunately, there's a lot of live footage of Radiohead, a lot of radio recordings. YouTube is just a treasure trove of Radiohead. So, what else? God, that's a band that has gone through every kind of transformation, and they're still here. They've been together with the same lineup since they were in school together. So that's another inspiration, is just the stability of a band that's been together that long.
And who, as we have mentioned, we're running off here.
Yeah.
But it's hard not to.
Yeah, with a band like Radiohead, we could probably geek out all day. So anyway, we welcome your comments in the discussion, and these are just meant as a starting point for talking about these great bands.
Yeah, of course. What's your favorite Radiohead album?
Yeah. Let us know, and we'll be catching up with you soon. We're here every week, and we'll be doing a new band next week. Until then, keep on rocking.